guys finally ready for a first impression of the new L'Oreal, what is this called? Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I finally came across my right shade. It took me like going to 3 stores to find it, but today is finally the day that we will be trying this baby out. If you're not familiar, this is the newest foundation from L'Oreal. It came out with a powder as well. It's going to run you about $12.99 depending on where you get it, and there are 12 shades. I first of all got the 3rd shade because the packaging makes it really hard to see what the actual color of the foundation is. So whenever I'm in the drugstore and I'm having a hard time, I'll go grab a foundation. For me, it's the Maybelline Superstay Makeup in Sand Beige that I know matches me really well. So I'll sit there and compare the two, and honestly the 3rd one in this line looked like it would be fine, but I got it home and it ended up being way too dark, so I ended up going down 2 shades and getting the first one, which is a 101 Classic Ivory. It's supposed to be very lightweight on the skin. I think on the site and even on the packaging it says like an air light feel, a barely there feel, and then it's supposed to give you a flawless demi matte finish. It doesn't say anything on the site about coverage, but on the back here it does have the little circle where medium is for the coverage, so I'm guessing that this has a medium coverage, but something tells me that it's going to be fairly buildable. I am assuming that this is made more for oily skin just because of the finish, but because I have very dry skin, I made sure to moisturize really well, and I'm just giving it a go because I love matte skin. I've said it a bazillion times, and recently I did try the new Maybelline matte foundation, which was the Fit Me Matte and Poreless, and I ended up loving that. So there are really high expectations just because I recently found that matte foundation that I really loved. So let's go ahead and put this on. I really ended up loving the packaging on this. I love these squeezy tubes, and I know a lot of time Wet n Wild will do things like this, but it just, I think, makes it super easy to get out the foundation. So it just comes out with like this little spout, and let me go ahead and take off this little sanitary thing. I don't ever know what those are called. So I'm just gonna, I guess, squeeze out a little bit on this brush. Today I'll be using the Sigma Tapered Kabuki F86, and yes, it is clean. I always feel like that's very important with first impressions of foundations. So I squeezed out about that much. Hopefully that's not too much, and I think this color is going to work pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on my cheeks where I normally do, and let's see how this goes. This is looking a little bit light at first, but I really think like it's gonna blend out fine. So let's see here. So far I'm not seeing a whole bunch of coverage, but I think the color will be totally fine for me, thankfully. I don't know, guys. I'm not seeing a whole lot of coverage with this. I thought I'd definitely see a little bit more. To me, this is more on the lighter side so far. As I'm going, though, I feel like it's really evening out my skin tone, and also it's not picking up a lot of those dry places that I tend to have. I feel like when I was applying the new Maybelline one, it really clung to those right away. And with this, I feel like my skin is looking pretty smooth, so that I like. So it's been about 30 seconds since I buffed it into my skin, and I'm so sorry for my insanely dry lips. But looking over my skin, I really like it. I feel like when I was done, my skin looked a little more even than I thought it would just when I first started applying it. But as for the finish, it's really nice. It is matte right off the bat, which I love. It did cling just very slightly to these dry patches that I have right around here, and it also did not settle at all into my fine lines. I would have to agree now that this is a medium coverage. It's nothing too light and it's nothing overly heavy either. I feel like a few of my imperfections are coming through, but I tend to like that because it's a little bit more natural. So I'm not going to go ahead and layer this up or anything like that. I'm going to add just a little bit of concealer under my eyes and then also finish the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. So now that all of my makeup is done, my thoughts have changed just a little bit because this has been on my skin longer. I did notice it settling just very slightly in the fine lines around my mouth, and also I've noticed around my nose and chin, I just wish I had a little bit more coverage. As far as the rest of my skin, I did want to say that I have not set this at all. I've only put a little bit of concealer and powder under my eyes, and I've also added a blush and bronzer. So I'm just going to wait and see how this holds up throughout the day, and I'll check back at the end of the night. Hi guys, sorry for the lighting change. I am back and it is now 6:15, so I've had this foundation on for about 8 hours, and I must say I am so happy with the way it looks. I applied this foundation around 10:30 this morning, and honestly, I just have 2 complaints, and those are the 2 complaints that I had during application. So I have a little bit of redness around my nose and my chin, but all in all, I've looked in the mirror a bazillion times today just to see how it's holding up, and I've always been really happy with the way that it looks. The finish has been amazing, and I even feel like around my nose where I get the oiliest, it hasn't gotten oily really at all. And also, I just feel like without setting it, it just feels like it's going to stay put on my skin. That is why I love matte foundations. So when I wear this again, I'm just going to add a little bit of concealer, which is what I typically do anyway, around my chin and my nose. So I think a lot of you are really going to love this foundation, and thankfully, I'm pretty blown away. So that is all for my first impression of the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation, and if you enjoyed it, please make sure to give this a huge thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys!